Hey, wonderful people of the great World Wide Web. Welcome to the third episode of my Moroccan adventure. We are continuing right where we left in episode 2, after a night at a campsite in Midelt. In this episode, I'll take you along on my journey from Midelt to Imilchil. So, let's find out what's next. If you watched episode 2, you might remember that after exploring the abandoned mines of Auli, I headed back to Midelt, found a campsite, pitched my tent, and then went into the city to grab something to eat. If you missed it, no worries, you can catch up by clicking the link in the upper right corner. After finishing my meal, which included not one, not two, but 3 bowls of harira, yes, you heard that right, I headed back to the camp to get some rest. Even the waiter was laughing when I ordered the 3rd bowl, but it was just that good, so flavorful and energizing, I couldn't help myself. The plan for the next day was to ride Cir de Jafar, but I had my doubts due to the earthquake that had hit Morocco a few days earlier. I asked some locals about the trail conditions, but they didn't have any info. But later that evening, while I was at a camp getting ready for rest, 3 overlanders arrived. A group of Germans, Poles and I think French travelers. From the looks of them, they were completely exhausted. I overheard them mentioning Cir de Jafar, so I asked if they had ridden it. Their response: we tried, but had to turn back. Part of the trail has collapsed down the hill. They told me that maybe, just maybe, I could ride on my bike, but there was no way their trucks could make it through. I must admit that this info made me think twice about riding it. And here we go back to something I talked about in the first episode, that my lack of experience, both riding and technical, made me back off from riding some trails. Today, with the experience I gathered since my Morocco adventure, I would try it for sure, 95% sure, okay? But at that time, with only 1 year of experience, completely honestly, I did not have the courage to try it solo. Call me a coward if you want, but if something doesn't feel right, I'd rather skip it. My logic: live to ride another day. There was also a group of Polish riders at a camp with big adventure bikes, so I thought, okay, maybe if they're planning to ride Cir de Jafar, I can tag along. But unfortunately, they weren't that kind of riders. They mostly stuck to the roads. Plus, they had 2 ladies riding with them, so they weren't up for anything too challenging or risky. Alright, it is what it is. I know my skill level, and from what I heard, that Cir de Jafar isn't an easy route even under the best conditions. The decision was made. I didn't want to push my luck. I'll save it for my next visit to Morocco. Instead, I set my sights on Imilchil. But I didn't want to backtrack all the way to Zaida, so I decided to shorten the route by cutting through the desert instead. When people hear desert, they usually picture the Sahara, endless sand dunes and scorching heat. But in Morocco, the desert is much more than that. It's mostly vast open lands covered in stones, stretching as far as the eye can see. And let me tell you, the ride was absolutely worth it. I was glad I made this choice. Now, I wouldn't call it a true desert, since I could still spot green farm fields and small villages in the distance. But when I stopped for a smoke and a water break, turned around and took it all in, the sheer beauty of those endless open spaces was just calming. I could have sat there by the trail for hours, just soaking it all in. After returning to the paved road, I took my time, savoring the scenery around me. As I got closer to the high Atlas Mountains, I came across another souk, and this one was massive. Riding slowly through the crowded streets was a real treat, watching the lively interactions between people buying, selling, and simply strolling through the market. have probably noticed those long robes with pointy hoods people are wearing. It is the traditional djellaba, a timeless classic across North Africa. And let me tell you, as a lifelong hoodie addict, this is the next level of greatness. I'm obsessed. Fashion meets function, sun protection, warmth, and you look like a wise desert sage. What's not to love? I'd seriously consider moving to Morocco just to wear one every day. I stopped for a snack and once again experienced the famous Moroccan hospitality. I think I was the only outsider there. At least I didn't spot anyone else. But people kept smiling at me. Maybe I just have that naturally funny looking face. Or maybe they were just being friendly. Yeah, let's go with that. And the owner asked me where I was from. Croatia, I said. And of course the immediate response was Modric. We ended up chatting about football. Not exactly my area of expertise, but luckily I knew Croatia and Morocco had faced off in the World Cup, I think, a few years back. So that became the main topic of conversation. After my snack, I continued riding towards Imilchil when I spotted some intriguing ground formations on a hillside. From a distance, they looked soft, almost like they were made of loose earth and sand, perfect for sliding down like a giant natural playground. But later, when I found the similar formations closer to the road and stopped to check them out, I realized they were anything but soft, just hard, compacted ground mixed with stones. Looks can definitely be deceiving. Sadly, I'm not a geologist, so I can't explain how these formations were created. But as I stood there admiring them, along with the surrounding mountains, I couldn't help but think about Ichi Boots. She's a geologist, and I imagine how much fun she must have riding around the world, probably able to tell just from the color and the shape of the rocks how they came to be. That must add a whole new layer of adventure. As the road curled higher, the Atlas Mountains swallowed me whole, peaks clouding the sky, valleys so deep they stole my breath. And there, at 2,100 meters above sea level, Imilchil waited, cradled in the high valley of Asif Mellul, the White River, a hidden pocket of life where the mountains bend like protective walls around the plain. This small town isn't just another dot on the map, it's where a legend of love carved itself into the land. Just beyond Imilchil, two lakes shimmer, Tislit and Isli. Their names belong to a young woman named Tislit and men named Isli from enemy tribes, Ait Yaza and Ait Brahim, who fell in love but were forbidden to marry. When their families forbade their marriage, the lovers climbed those mountains to weep. They cried so fiercely their tears drowned the earth, forming the two lakes. Heartbroken, the lovers died of sorrow. But their story moved the two tribes so deeply that they agreed to hold a festival once a year where young men and women could freely choose who they wished to marry. This became the Imilchil Wedding Festival, a celebration of love that continues to this day, a bittersweet tribute to Tislit and Isli. Amazing how mountains carry stories like this, isn't it? That rugged beauty is more than just rock and wind, it's alive with history and legends. My plan was to camp by Lake Tislit, but to my disappointment, the campsite was closed. So I found a small hotel in Imilchil instead, where I was once again welcomed with Moroccan hospitality, a delicious tagine, really delicious tagine, and of course a new furry friend to keep me company. That night I also had my first encounter with something unexpected, apple juice with milk. When I ordered apple juice with my dinner, the waiter casually asked with water or milk. Apple juice with milk? Really? That sounded bizarre. But of course, you know me, I had to try it. Surprisingly, it was really good, like a light, refreshing apple milkshake. Morocco never stopped surprising me. That wraps up episode 3 of my Moroccan adventure. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe for more motorcycle adventures. Ride safe and keep exploring.